All right, chat. So if you haven't noticed, there is actually a upload of a podcast, the Time to Explain podcast, on the Brawl Stars main channel. Now, today we are going to be checking out all the important stuff here. I can't watch all of it because it is 3 hours long, which is an insane amount of time. If I were to sit here and watch this entire thing and yap all through, it would take 6 hours to do. So we're not going to do that. I'm going to cut out the crap that doesn't matter, the things that don't care, like esports and like the prize pool for esports and stuff like that. We're going to skip over that stuff and we're going to get down to the important things, and I'll give you guys my opinion on it as we go through. So if you have watched the podcast already, let me know what you think about everything down in the comments. If you haven't, then stick around, watch it with us, and I'll let you guys know what I think. Anyway, let's get through this.
Are there any plans to improve the late game for us, the 0.1%, ladder reworks, ranked rework, etc.?
I think I can quickly touch on the trophy system.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, so the trophy system today, it's all right? It works. It's one of these things that we had in the game since forever. It's a staple of Brawl, and it's not going to go anywhere as a system. However, today there's, I think, two desires which are competing with each other. There's on one side the average player, which is the lion's share of our players. And on the other side, you have endgame players who want to push high trophies, that want to compete with each other on that high level. So the question is, can we find a system that is solving both? Make it more attractive for people to push trophies, give more people the chance to push trophies.
If you want to make it more attractive for people to push trophies and give like incentive to push trophies, you need to give rewards for pushing trophies. Our rewards right now are shit. The whole reason for pushing trophies used to be the power points. You remember those? Or the power coins, the purple, the pink ones. I can't remember what they're called. But those used to be the rewards. And we used to get a bunch of those for pushing all of our brawlers to 500, 550, 600. And then they changed it so only 10 brawlers count. And then they changed it to bling and they nerfed the shit out of it. So now if you push 10 brawlers to 700, you get like 600 bling, which is nothing. You can't buy anything with it. Bling is pointless. Like, what do you do with them? Buy skins? Yeah, don't get me started enough on rank drops. So I don't think bling is totally pointless. Hear me out, Edgar. I don't think bling is totally pointless in this situation. I think that it would definitely reward people and give people an incentive to push up if they could buy all the skins they want, if you rewarded them with a sufficient amount of bling. Say if you push 10 brawlers to 800 and you got, I don't know, 1,500 bling for that, that's basically, with your Brawl Pass, that's basically a super rare skin every season or an epic skin every other season. That would be a perfectly good reward for and give people an incentive to actually want to get good at the game and push up. Especially considering the quality of skins that have been coming out, and you could get that all, you could get a couple of those for free every other season. You know what I mean? All right, so now they're going to start talking about the limited events. Now, here's something that I have personally had a gripe with. So the limited events, like SpongeBob and to a lesser extent, the Godzilla events, I think have been kind of abysmal. So specifically SpongeBob. SpongeBob feels like it was purposely put out to be a cash grab. From the start of it, I was like, this looks cool, but let's see how it goes. And then as soon as it dropped and, you know, the cash was in the shop and you only, all the offers were like 10,000 cash or more, and they weren't giving us meals every single day, the Happy Meals every single day, I was like, this is not good. And then the mode that dropped with it was bad. And all in all, it just feels like the whole event was set up to make as much money as possible. And I'm not a big fan of it.
I mean, we are obviously super excited about the temporary events, right? SpongeBob now, but before Godzilla was crazy good for the game. The classic Brawl event was also great for the game, getting us through summer in a better way than ever before. I think the learning from the last half year or so as a team is that we maybe over-indexed a little bit on the temporary content, because like we do feel that there's issues in the game and that there's systems in the game we want to make better.
I was going to pause and say, I'm glad that they recognize that they have focused too much on the temporary events. They're not going to give us any answers about anything being permanent because they haven't given us any answers officially at all. But I'm glad that they recognize that they've leaned too heavily in the temporaries.
You know, content being added, and it's a lot of temporary stuff. But then a lot of the long-term content didn't do as well before. Like, you know, many of those like big changes to quality of life. And even when I think about like game modes that aren't tied to like an event, very often they're doing fine for a few days, but then people kind of, you know, payload, volleyball, like they don't really stay popular for long. Whereas for the game modes, I feel like it's worked much better for the events as well. And I feel like we really see the results too.
Well, that's because they tie whatever the specific mechanic for the event is to the game mode. So, you know, to get your mutation eggs, you had to play City Smash. To get some of your star tokens, you had to play Drum Roll and Mirror Match. To get some of your Krabby Cash, you got to play Trio Showdown. They tie the mechanic for the event to the new game modes to force people to play them, you know? Like, of course, the activity of those modes is going to be a little bit higher because people are engaging with it just to get their rewards. And then there's going to be modes that you don't enjoy, like drum roll, for example. Most people didn't like drum roll. Once you got your reward, you dipped out. You didn't touch the mode again.
The dead because there's nothing to do for 90% of the month. Are there any plans to add more activities for clubs?
Yes.
Yes. No, but we do agree as well that like Club League was not it.
Yeah.
Megapig is a decent middle ground, but then again, a lot of the time there's nothing to do. But
Yeah, so the issue is that Club League was too much and Megapig feels like not enough. Megapig is one weekend a month where Club League was like, it felt like every day was a club event. Not necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like, it felt like it was way too much. And the rewards were too much for them to keep a balanced economy.
And also the solution wouldn't be just more mega pigs every weekend because
Yes.
then it will burn out.
exactly, because that's kind of what happened with Club League,
Yeah.
right? Like it was exciting for a month, two, depending on who you are, and then it's like, oh, here's that chore again that I need to do.
See, I told you.
So when we and we will introduce more things for clubs to do, like it's just a matter of time. Just don't expect always these things to be huge things. It could be just, you know, another activity like the mega pick, just different. It could.
Listen, I would be totally cool if, like, say, like, the second weekend of the month we did Mega Pig, and then the third weekend or the fourth weekend of the month we did like Club Quest, stuff like that. I think that if they did Club Quests as a weekend event for the whole club, I think that would be dope too. And I think that would be, it would make it so that club events felt more consistent, but also not burn us out of each individual thing. Like, Club Quest may not be the most exciting thing, but at least it's something you can do while working on your own quests, while pushing your own brawlers, and you don't have to go out of your way to do it like Mega Pig. Like, my big gripe with Mega Pig is that it's its own event, it's very siloed off, and it's like, if I'm doing Mega Pig, I'm not working on ranked, I'm not working on ladder, I'm not working on my quest, I'm doing Mega Pig. Where at least with like Club Quest, it would be ingrained and it would be like fit into the natural flow of the game easily.
Thoughts on this we discussed earlier about how now it seems like every new brawler releases through a value pack. You know, new brawler comes out, it's supposed to be very exciting, but if you're not willing to make the in-app purchase, then you don't get to engage with that release.
Yeah,
This is one of the gripes I had in my video when I talked about why I don't buy brawler packs, because it doesn't feel as engaging anymore as it used to be when we all used to get the brawler on release day. Remember that? It was the first point I made, and I got made fun of. I got cooked in the comments about that. Do any of you guys feel like you don't know how to play Kenji? Do you guys feel like you haven't watched a video on Kenji and don't know how his techs work or not? Because I bet you have. Seriously, like, that was part of the excitement of new brawlers coming out. You get to unlock the brawler, and you get to experience it all by yourself without watching any YouTube videos about it. Now it's like, the brawler, you have to wait a week to get the brawler, and by then you've already watched 1 or 2 or maybe 3 videos about it, and you kind of know all the ins and outs, the pros and cons, what brawlers to avoid, all that stuff.
this has been kind of one of my complaints about like monetization, I guess, is I'm really not a fan of the value pack. I feel I get the point of it. Like, I'll start with the positives, because I'm aware of the fact that it, you know, stops the servers from dying and everyone playing the same brawler, and matchmaking is terrible. So I do see the benefits there, but personally, like, I don't buy them, and then I kind of lose the hype for the new brawler by the time I unlock it. Kind of sad that I'm not like as excited anymore about new brawlers.
We cannot really see that in the numbers. I can totally see that as an individual.
Is this guy a robot? Serious question, chat. Is he a robot? What do you mean you need to see this in the numbers? Can you not read Twitter? Can you not see Reddit? Like, do you not see the posts and the videos and the things that people say about your game? Beep, boop, boop, beep. Cannot compute what hype is. How do you measure hype?
That as an individual, that it might feel like that. But from just looking at, you know, engagement numbers, looking on the player who come in on that day, etc., it doesn't look like that's largely the sentiment, at least. For us, it's like was a gentle way of introducing more monetization, make things more sustainable without adding more power or without adding power 12 or something like this. It's like just trying to become creative with what we have already, giving a small benefit for payers, which is that week early access, without, you know, changing something permanently about the power.
My thing, though, is you can sell the value packs the day the Brawl releases. So there's not an early access pack, but the people that buy the value pack could make it so that you buy the value pack, right? You get the Brawler, you get the skin, you get all the rewards for it on that day, and then they get to benefit by maxing out the Brawler for free. They get to get the skin for the Brawler a week early, and they get the Brawler all at the same time. Shit, throw a gadget and a star power in there too. Why not? Then the people who pay money to unlock the Brawler rather than getting it through credits can get more value from it. And the people who use credits get the Brawler, and then they have to invest their resources into it. There's a way to monetize it to make it hype again, but they just don't do it because they want to push you to buy that Brawler.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just...
Yeah, we know it's not going to go anywhere because you're making money hand over fist because you're forcing people, if they want to engage with the new content as early as possible, to buy the Brawler. If not, you have to sit out on the sidelines and watch everybody have fun.
That's fair, but I also want to give another perspective, I think, from balancing side, for example, because, you know...
What do you mean balancing side? You don't balance these Brawlers! These Brawlers come out broken, and you can't touch them for 3 to 4 weeks because of the way you set the system up. The f do you mean balancing? Get the f out of here. Oh my god. Yes, I'm mad because they're talking out of their asses. We all see exactly what happens when they release these Brawlers. We all see what is happening with the game. This is just talking out of their asses and trying to gaslight us into not seeing the way the game is being played. You can't talk about a Brawler being balanced on release that you cannot nerf because you sold it and make it either pay to win or scammy if you nerf it, or make it pay to win if you nerf it before free-to-play players get to play it at full strength. All right, let's listen to Adrian talk about the balancing of his new Brawlers that come out broken and OP. Let's not forget about Kit or Larry and Lori or Mo or soon to be Kenji. Let's listen to how selling Brawlers early and not nerfing them for 3 weeks because you sold them early leads to better balancing.
But the early access, for example, period is a really good way for us to also see, is that statement true or not? Because, like, if we release it to everyone at the same time, like, you know, if everyone get the Brawler day one, then let's say it wreaks havoc, or let's say it's worse, like it crashes the game. We've seen that with Gene, for example. Then that's a much larger impact for the player base, right? And then we don't have the same amount of time to rectify that before everyone gets their hands on it. So there is other positives.
But you can push an emergency patch through if you feel like there's something breaking the game, or if the Brawler is totally unfair. The next day or 2 days later, you can balance the Brawler. You can't do that right now because you've sold this Brawler to people, and it is a scam if you sell them a strong Brawler, they pay money for a Brawler, and then you nerf it immediately. And if you nerf it before free-to-play players get it, then it's a pay-to-win setup because you're letting people get a free rank 30 Brawler and then nerfing it before the people who didn't pay money for it get it.
And I think, like, it's a balance, like, I'm not happy that you are sad with the new format, right?
Me neither, for the record.
But like it's the sacrifice we have to make because, like, how sad are you?
And now they want us to bust out the Dr. Pain chart. How bad is your pain? They want us to look at how much we hurt. Like, so are you like severely sad that we're selling the Brawler that's OP and we can't nerf it? Or do you just like mildly, are you just like mildly upset? They want us to gauge our pain like that.
I think that for me, like, the only issue I have with it, because I love the idea of the value, right? Of having like, this is a great deal to buy and you get tons of like progression and
I agree. The value pack is good. I'm with Teddy on this. The value pack is good for the people that want to buy it. If they release the Brawler at the same time for everybody else, I might consider buying a value pack. If I could buy a pack that would come with the Brawler, the skins, all the gems, all that stuff, or all the PowerPoints and all that stuff, if I could buy that and everybody could benefit from getting the Brawler at the same time, I would buy the value pack. But I can't do that in good faith.
And just I want to touch on that really quick, the OP part or whatever, because
Lay it on me, Adrian. Tell me why you make brawlers so stupid strong. Tell me, Adrian. Tell me.
I want to say it very clearly. We don't make OP brawlers on purpose. I've said this many times, but if
But they're
we
all
don't,
OP.
if
But I don't know how to balance brawlers. No, it really all it is them wanting to make brawlers strong to get people excited to play them, to encourage them to buy the brawler. Like, let's be real. They want to release brawlers that are stronger in general to try to incentivize people to buy the early access pack or get excited for them to play it and play the game longer and all that stuff. It's like, I understand that if you release a weak brawler, nobody's going to have fun with it. I get it. Like Hank. Hank's a perfect example. Nobody cared about Hank when he came out. He was a bad designed brawler, and he's kind of like, people meme on Hank. Hank is famous because he's a bit of a meme in the community. No one really respects the brawler. But then you have a brawler like Larry and Lori, where he's not the most exciting brawler, but he was stupid OP when he came out, and you're not going to tell me you didn't play him when he dropped. And you didn't, and people weren't tempted to buy that early access pack because he was so good.
if we don't make them strong enough, then people forget them basically by default, and they can never recover. So I made this example a few times, but if you look at Doug, if you look at, let's say, Willow, they still haven't recovered. We've buffed them lots of times, and they're...
You're also not talking about exciting brawlers, though. Like, those are... I get what he's saying, all right? But those two brawlers specifically are not exciting brawlers. You're talking about Healer Jackie and Boring Barley. Like, you're talking about a healer brawler that has a radius like this, and you're talking about a version 2 of a thrower brawler, which nobody cares about. You're not talking about Lily, who was weak on release. Not weak, but like, they buffed her after. They gave her a buff after her initial run. And guess what? Lily's fucking great. Everyone likes Lily. Talking about Willow and Doug in this situation is not the same as talking about a brawler like Kenji. And I get what he's saying here, but I can't get behind it. I can't get behind it because I know you make brawlers stronger than what you think they're going to be. And then you put yourself in a position where you cannot nerf them because it would be a scam to the pay-to-play players, and it would be a scam to the free-to-play players that just unlock them. And then we're just stuck with this shitty balanced meta, and then you try to say this is better for balancing. I can't get behind that.
The question is, do you think Brawl Stars would be a better, meaning more fun?
Would Brawl Stars be more fun if spending money was not an option? Let's hear the devs say that the game was more fun when you didn't need to spend money. Let's see if they actually say that. My money says they're not going to say that. They're going to say it's better that you have to spend money. It's better that you pay their checks. It's better that you support the game.
An enjoyable game if spending money were not an option.
I don't think so, personally.
Oh my god! He didn't hold back! He didn't frame one! No, spend money on the game, please. Spend all your money. Listen, I don't mean to hate on them. They're obviously a company. They need to make money to support it to keep the game going. Obviously. But you cannot look at the camera and go, no, the game wouldn't be more fun if you couldn't max out your brawlers and you couldn't unlock all the brawlers for free. You cannot look at the camera and say that.
When we create a new feature, it's always driven by how does it make the player's life better?
That's why you removed Hypercharge Unleashed, right? Because that made the players' lives better, right? He said, how does this make the players' lives better? And you removed Hypercharge Unleashed because that made the players' lives better, right? Because us getting a free Hypercharge every month made it unenjoyable to play the game. So he's not talking about would the game be more enjoyable here. He's talking about why the game needs to be monetized. That wasn't the question. The question is, would the game be more fun if people didn't need to spend money on it? And he's talking about the game needing to make more money to fund Supercell and to make more games. Me, as a human being, here's how I'd answer that question. I would look dead at the camera and say, of course the game would be more fun if you didn't have to spend money on it. There's lots of games that you can play without spending money on them. In fact, you can play Brawl Stars without spending money on it. But we need to monetize the game in order to keep the game going, to do cool things that we're doing, and to continue development of the game, and even more games by making more money for Supercell. There's an easy way and a personable way to say that. This wasn't it. This was not it.
I don't think so, personally.
That's not the way. That's not the way to answer the question, man. That wasn't it. That was not it.
Way to
All right, I think we could just move on from this category. I think we've heard what they had to say. They didn't really answer the question about whether the game would be fun or not. They kind of just said the game needs to be monetized, which I agree with. But I think the way they answered the question was way too corporate. So we're gonna move on. All right. So I know already that they're gonna say there is no coin shortage. I've already seen it. It's been spoiled on Twitter for me. So let's just hear them say it. Let's hear Frank say they're giving out a ton of coins and there's no problem. There is no war and bossing say.
The community has asked for so long to find solution with coins compared to PowerPoints. Coins is in big shortage. Maybe some kind of conversion could be possible to at least reducing the prices of hypercharge and things. In advance, I love you, Dan. Yeah, so like I prepare years for this question. What I think that there is a problem is because we are not like giving less coins. Like we are giving more coins in general, like raw coins actually, on top of like the random.
That's fair. They are giving more coins than they normally give. I agree. There are ways to get coins. The problem is, and they're not going to answer it, is that they have released so many brawlers and they have made it so much more expensive to get things like hypercharges that is causing this coin shortage. If you need to spend 5,000 coins to get a hypercharge and it takes you, 12,000, 13,000 coins to upgrade a brawler all the way up to max, plus buy gears, plus buy gadgets, plus buy star powers, it costs a lot of coins to upgrade a brawler maxed out. No matter how much you give out, you keep making the game more expensive, and that's what people are talking about. If you're giving out 30,000 coins in a season, and it costs me 17,000 to max out a brawler and buy their hypercharge, I can't do that more than once in a season, just by the sheer numbers you're giving out. And that's what people are specifically talking about.
No rewards, it's like gadgets, star drops, hypercharging, gacha. But players are still complaining about that. So there's a perception that like, I'm not getting enough progression.
And part of that is because of the gacha system. He mentioned it real quickly there. Part of that is because of the gacha system, because it doesn't feel like I'm getting the same amount of rewards I used to get. Because the game, A, the game is so much more expensive since hypercharges came out, and B, my number of coins is trickled to me a lot slower because it comes through star drops rather than coming straight from a stagnant reward that I can see.
Because if we just add a flat number of coins in the Brawl Pass, or like something that you can see, okay, so there's a obvious buff here because before it was that, now it's this. Like, so we would see like the buff, and then that will probably help a bit with the perception, but I don't think it would solve anything because it wouldn't change engagement, it wouldn't change how much players will play the game.
If you're telling me that if you stuck a fat stack of coins at the end of the Brawl Pass, say, instead of getting star drops, say it gave you 500 coins for every 500 tokens. Say every token that you earned after you finished the Brawl Pass gave you 1 coin. And you're telling me at the end of the season, you got 5 stacks of 500 coins, and there's 2,000 coins sitting at the end of your Brawl Pass. You're thinking people wouldn't notice that? You think people would not notice an extra 2,000 gold being dropped into their accounts?
Proved before, like if it's just a flat reward, people are not as excited to get, or like they don't chase it. So we use this as a carrot for like our events, for like SpongeBob, there's like actual progression there, which is on top of the flat progression that you have in game. Community events is the same. We have like this big budget of like rewards that drop in one day, and then you feel like I can't miss this because it will help my account to progress.
So he's just talking about how if it's a flat reward, people won't be excited, they won't chase it, and instead they're trying to spread that across other events to try to give us that. But because it's spread, instead of it all being in one located place, we don't really notice it. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say that we're not going to notice it if you give it to us as a flat reward, and you can't say that if it's spread out, we're not noticing it. Like, you can't have it both ways. It's so frustrating that we as a community recognize there's a problem. We tell them there's a problem. They refuse to acknowledge the problem, and then they go on this podcast and they try to gaslight us into saying there's not a problem. No one's denying that there are more coins in 2024 than there were in 2020. No one's trying to deny that. But what we do know is that there is also 3 times as many brawlers. there is also 10 times as much cost. There is also gears and gadgets and star powers and hypercharges that need to be bought. And you guys, instead of telling us that we could look into doing this, and it's a resource balancing economy, and we have to look into it, we have to crunch the numbers and look over it, maybe we could do this for you guys. Instead of trying to like alleviate any of our concerns, they gaslight us into saying there is no problem. And I think it's very disingenuous. Brother, look where this line is. This line, average income for players above average income. Look where this line is right here. Let me move my camera for you. Let me move my camera for you. This line's here. Look how far they moved it. It's not that. This is what, 8? This is like 700 to 900. This is like 900 to 1200. The line never goes over 1,000.
And then if you would average, like put this spike in an average, it will actually increase the baseline. But you can see that even like the baseline is already increased when you change the Brawl Pass to the new format. It's like, it feels that we already like...
But we're not talking about the spikes, bro. Like, the spikes are great. This is cool. This is awesome. This was probably what, the 100 star drop event here. But like, and I get that like this counts, but like you're gonna spend these coins and then you're gonna be back down here.
We have here the average daily income, so like that's every day, and then you can see how like the baseline is very high, and it's still climbing up, which makes Jeff on our side to get desperate, like, oh my god, they're getting too many coins. But like,
what was that part? Did I hear him say we're getting too many coins? They want to nerf our coins? There's a guy in the back crunching the numbers saying nerf them? We're cooked, chat. We're cooked. Do you know what's in the shop every day, no matter what the day is, every day of the week? The one thing that we've been asking for, it's sitting right there, guys. It's sitting right there. There's coins at the end of your shop that you could buy gems. You can buy gems. And then buy coins and alleviate your coin crisis. They want you to buy coins and make more money. That's the only reason I feel like they would try to gaslight you into saying there's no coin shortage. Because they sell coins in the shop. It's the one thing they consistently sell in the shop that can solve this exact problem. That's all I gotta say, man. And I know we've been watching this podcast and I've been like super negative about like their monetization. And it's not even so much the monetization of the game. It's the gaslighting. Because people are asking questions and they want genuine feedback, and we get this corporate bullshit answer like, no, the game wouldn't be more fun if you didn't have to spend money on it. There is no Warren Bossing say. There is no coin crisis in Brawl Stars. There is no problem with buying with the Brawler release schedule. While you have a guy sitting right across from you saying, I don't enjoy the Brawler release schedule like this. I feel like the early access packs are ruining him. They looked him in the eye and told him, no, that's not part of the numbers that we looked at. That does not compute. All right, so this question is, why did they remove Hypercharge Unleashed? Let's check it out.
Miguel13, why did you remove the Hypercharge event? Could it come back in the future?
Good question. So why did we remove it? We removed it because it wasn't fun. It's like it delivered the goods, but people really just played it to get the goods.
That's why people play your temporary events, is just to get the goods, but you keep doing those.
So for us, it was like, hey, this could be a really cool, engaging moment for everyone, where you can try out the new hypercharges and you can have fun with it and you can experiment, you know.
But you didn't let us pick what brawler we got to use the hypercharges on, and you didn't let us test out very much. You made it into an RNG mode that randomly gave us a brawler on a random team on a random map, and maybe that's why people didn't enjoy it, because they couldn't actually test them out in depth. It was kind of just like, I queue up, I play, and whatever I get. So I might get stuck with Jackie's hypercharge 10 times, as opposed to getting something like, Edgar's or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, whatever batch of brawlers came out. Like, You didn't give people autonomy over it. You made it an RNG mode. Maybe that's why people didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah, and then as we said before, like now we get those opportunity of giving resources, and then we put in the community events where we actually drive more players, and like we make a bigger deal out of that. So the Hypercharge event wasn't doing anything for us. When we did work, we didn't see any results.
But so I guess the main point there is, even though we removed the event, the resources didn't get removed. They just got.
So they're going back to this. We reallocated the resources. They're still in the game. You just don't see them. And like, it's cool for them to say that, but we're also doing a trust me, bro situation, which isn't good in my opinion.
Other things.
Yeah, we are not giving the Hypercharge directly.
Yes.
But we are giving the value.
I think if they gave us a Hypercharge directly, it would be way more hype. Imagine if they did a Hypercharge community event where there was something where like you had to use X amount of Hypercharges to unlock certain rewards, and at the end of it, we got a free Hypercharge drop. Maybe, and make it random. That way, you know, like Frank said, it would push you to play a brawler that you necessarily would not have gotten. You know, imagine if they did an event like that.
Like for example, right after we did this change, we did the thumbs up for Brawl, which gave like 5 legendary star drops in one go, and then actually it's very.
I'm gonna say this right here: 5 legendary star drops is not the same as getting a guaranteed Hypercharge. You might get 5 Hypercharges from those 5 legendary star drops. You might get some super rare skins. You might get credits. It's not the same, and it's all RNG. Hey, what's up, Jam fam? So, that was a long video. So it took me like 3 hours to record that entire reaction. I compressed it as much as I could. I hope you guys enjoyed it at least. I tried to get my messages across and express exactly what I was feeling without like taking up too much of your time. So I know it's a 30-minute long video, but I hope that, you know, you at least got the gist of what I was saying. And I'll try to leave timestamps down in the description for you guys so you can skip around in case you don't want to hear anything specific. But overall, my thoughts on that podcast was it didn't turn out great, if I'm totally honest. Like, a lot of the things I felt in that podcast were either dodging questions and not really answering things or committing to answers, or even like trying to alleviate some of our feelings about things. And they also tried to gaslight us about a bunch of things, namely coin shortages. They really tried to gaslight us hard on coin shortages, but also I felt like they were trying to gaslight us on brawler releases being balanced and being fair, when I have expressed in the past myself that brawler releases are not fair and they're not very balanced. And Teddy was literally sitting right across from them saying that it wasn't like that. And they looked him dead in the eye and told him he was wrong, which is crazy to me. I do want to say that it is cool that the devs do this podcast in the first place. Obviously, they're under no obligation to do any of this. They take the time out of their day and their schedule to do it and try to answer our questions. And I do genuinely appreciate it. It's just this specific time, I wasn't like the happiest with the way it turned out. I feel like they dodged a lot of questions and they gaslighted, and it left a really bad taste in my mouth. And you guys obviously saw that during the reaction. So unfortunately, that's the way it turned out. But those are just my thoughts as we were going through everything. So let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you watched the podcast and what you came away thinking. Maybe you can like explain them better than me, because my initial reaction was not very positive of the entire thing. But if you didn't, let me know what you thought about what I showed down in the comments. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you guys if you made it this far, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.